Reviving retro game traditions that have largely been abandoned by developers and giving them a modern tune-up is a popular trend in today's indie game scene. As someone who grew up loving these older styles of games, it is a trend that I'm particularly fond of. With the original Volgarr the Viking released back in 2013, developer Crazy Viking Studios successfully recreated the feeling and appeal of brutally difficult arcade action platformers from the late 80s and early 90s, while adding a bit of a modern flair to the gameplay and presentation. Now, 11 years later, Volgarr the Viking returns in a sequel with an upgraded visual presentation and a plethora of new features that promise to retain the feel that made the original a compelling experience. But will Volgarr the Viking II live up to its potential, or will it be a vulgar imitation of a previous success? Let's find out in our full review. Speaking of living up to our potential, thank you for helping I Dream of Indie Games reach our fullest potential by liking and subscribing. And don't forget to check us out at patreon.com/idreamofindiegames for exclusive content and awesome perks. Oh, and be sure to check out our weekly live streams with Gamer Ghoulfriend here and at Twitch every Tuesday and Thursday. Your community is waiting for you. Crazy Viking Studios returns for development in Volgarr the Viking II, teaming up with Digital Eclipse, who published the game. This time around, the story follows Volgarr once again engaging in great acts of heroism in his work for Odin. This sequel is an extremely difficult 2D action precision platformer. Volgar's journey takes him through multiple levels, each broken up into stages. There are 5 basic levels and a hidden 6th level for the player to discover. The sequel places a heavier emphasis on precision platforming, including underwater areas that take a great deal of getting used to. Underwater levels are one of the most notoriously difficult level types in retro platformers, if you didn't know, and Volgarr the Viking II is no exception. What will immediately stand out as being different from the first game is the inclusion of checkpoints within each stage. Stages themselves are also much longer than in the original. These checkpoints, which are represented by runestones, can be destroyed to either receive treasure or the chance for a 1-up. However, a checkpoint can no longer be used if you destroy the runestone associated with it, so it comes with a very high risk that probably won't be worth it to most players. The way the power-ups are handled this go-around, however, remains mostly unchanged. Each power-up both increases an ability and allows you to absorb an additional hit, though you will lose a power-up for each hit you take. If you get tagged without any power-ups, it is a one-hit death, so it's incredibly easy to die in this game, especially since the enemies are more difficult than ever before. Also more challenging are the boss encounters, as a death at the hands of a boss means you'll start at the nearest checkpoint without the opportunity to get power-ups before taking them on again. Mercifully, some areas will at least give you a single power-up chest next to the final checkpoint. These won't increase your damage against the boss, but at least it will allow you to take 2 hits instead of 1 before dying. Are you intimidated by the difficulty already? Well, at the least there is an easier undead mode that unlocks after using multiple continues. Volgar's skin will appear green like the Hulk in this mode, and he no longer takes damage from enemy attacks, which means that you keep all of your upgrades until you die, and death mostly comes from fatal falls. However, while this makes the game easier, players should still expect a challenge. With its combination of difficult platforming and a multitude of enemies doing everything they can to knock you to your death throughout most of the game, you will die and die often. This mode does make you invulnerable to some of the bosses who fight you on a flat surface with no areas to drop off from, so it can sometimes feel a bit like cheating. The trade-off to Undead mode is that you won't be able to get the best ending in the game. To avoid going into Undead mode, if you think you're about to lose your last life and have to use a continue, you can pause the game and select the Restart World option from the menu, which will bring you back to the beginning of the level with 3 lives. Note that this is the beginning of a level, not the stage you were in, so you will lose every checkpoint, power-up, and treasure you had in the level. Ouch! While Undead mode provides some training wheels that can help you learn the levels, there is also a practice mode available which can be selected from the title screen menu. While currently you cannot access a level to practice until after reaching the boss, there's still decent value in this mode. For example, if you originally completed the level in Undead mode, then practice mode will allow you to attempt that level in normal mode so you can work on improving your skills, memorizing the dangers presented in each stage, and learn those boss patterns. So overall, how does Volgarr the Viking II compare to the original? Well, in my opinion, it's an improvement in every way. The presentation is wonderful when compared to its predecessor, with large and more detailed graphics. The grandiose soundtrack is impressive and can help boost morale even when facing a brutally difficult challenge. The increased difficulty of the combat makes the game more engaging, and the inclusion of features like Undead Mode and Practice Mode can go a long way in helping players learn the game and improve their skills over time. While some of my descriptions of how incredibly challenging this game is might be interpreted as a complaint, as someone who greatly enjoys ridiculously difficult games, I honestly highly enjoyed my time with Volgarr the Viking II. While it is certainly a niche title, only recommended for those who like their retro-style action platformers savagely difficult, I highly recommend it for gamers with such a taste and temperament. If you enjoy retro games like Ghouls and Ghosts, the ActRaiser games, Magic Sword, Magician Lord, or even the 8-bit Ninja Gaiden games, or you were a fan of the original Volgarr, then Volgarr the Viking II just might be the kind of game you're looking for. I am awarding Volgarr the Viking II the Silver Genie Lamp of Approval.